Hey, everybody on YouTube, thanks for being here. If you found us, you're a smart person, you're a seeker of knowledge, you're looking to improve your Google Ads skills. That is a commendable activity. And I want to thank you for being here. So, thank you for being here and do what a lot of people are doing. Please click the like button on the video, support the show. A lot of people are doing that. Thank you for doing that. Chris, you ready to go on audio?
Yes. Hi,
You're
YouTube.
so ready to go.
Thanks for watching and listening. It's a special, it's a special relationship we have. 95% of the people do not get this kind of you understand. This is a special thing we have. Thank you.
The videos, yeah. Jimmy, would you like a candy corn today, given the significance of October 31st as we're recording or watching the Paid Search podcast live because I'm not the host? Thanks, but no thanks. Candy corn is the most overrated candy I've ever had. I'm going to wait till tonight when I go trick or treating. Okay, Jimmy, do what you need to do. Hey, everybody. Yes. Welcome back to the Paid Search podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I am joined by, I am associated with, I am doing a podcast with the great Chris Schaefer. Chris, how is it going today? Halloween.
I am happy Halloween, Jason. You look great. I wasn't expecting the pilgrim outfit that you have on today, but it seems a little early to wear pilgrim on Halloween. But I know you're a fan of corn, so that's just great. You look nice. The
Try
hat
to
is really
start off the
nice.
show being nice, but if you want to go there, we can go there. Chris is wearing
Uh-oh.
a very tempting shirt with on a zipper at the top of a shirt that goes way lower than it would ever need to go. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't go all the way down. It's not like a jacket. It just, for whatever reason, goes down to the middle of his navel. So I don't know why he's wearing that. I also, it kind of looks like he's wearing a shag carpet. It looks like a very hot shirt.
Oh,
Maybe it's to keep him warm in
oh no.
winter. But it's one of those shirts,
Yeah.
Chris. A guy who was a grade older than me did me this favor. He shamed me.
Mm, mm-hmm.
So I'm just in seventh grade. I don't know what's going on in the world. I put on
Right.
like Friday. We had uniforms at school, but we got to free dress Friday. I haven't said that in years. Free dress Friday. That's really what
Free
it was.
dress Friday. Oh man.
And
Private school.
yeah,
Private
private
school.
school was free dress, and I wore a short sleeve black shirt, but it was like shiny in nature. And it was something that like
Oh
98 Degrees or
no.
the Backstreet Boys would
Mm,
wear on stage. And I don't
yeah.
know why I picked it
Yep.
out when I went shopping, but I did because I was influenced by the media. I just don't know what I was doing when I was 13.
Yeah.
And the problem was I go to school, it's not like you can change. I'm stuck there all day. And then the word gets around the school, look at this guy's shirt. What is he doing? He thinks he's in a boy band. And I had a guy who's a year older than me totally make fun of me, totally shame
Mm,
me, but at the same time, totally explain what's going on, like why it was just out of line to wear that shirt and why he was making fun of me. And it felt really bad at the time, but he whipped me in line. Like I never made that mistake again. So,
he he took the time to explain why. Not only did he make fun of you, but he took the time to explain why he was making fun of you.
well, in the sense that he was like saying, "What are you in a boy band? What are you?" And then he was saying some other things that were pretty mean.
He explained that shirt is appropriate for this instance or this instance, so you immediately knew that you weren't in any of those and why it was inappropriate. Wow, what a what a
So in
what a
today's world, he'd
favor.
probably be locked up and sent away. But in the early 2000s, like he saved a kid's childhood. Like I never made that mistake again for the rest of my high school career
Mm.
or middle school, and
Okay, just to
it
be
worked.
clear, this shirt is nothing like the Backstreet Boys or 98 Degrees would wear. This is just a pullover sweater, Jason. I hope you're not implying.
No, it's just who do you think you are? Like that's not a I don't know. It just seems like you're trying to pull something off with that shirt. You're trying to pull the zipper down. You got this weird collar going on. You did some push-ups before the show to get a pump. I don't know what you're doing.
Oh,
So
always.
because your
Oh yeah,
chest is looking rather
absolutely.
large today.
Oh yeah, it's always extra large. But let's move to more important topics. Like the reason we're here today, the reason that we can bring this show to you, let's talk about optio.com/PSP. This tool, which is designed for your comfort. And let me explain how this works. You are at at the gym, and you get an email from a client, and they're stressed, or your boss, maybe you work directly in house and you're working on PPC, and they get a question about something. What are you going to do? You don't have your laptop. You're a little stressed. You're worried. It sounds like something's going on. You have this mobile friendly tool that you can use to get information about your account in a very graphical way. They can give you graphs and charts. You can check things. You can make sure that there's no alerts on your account. Great system for a panic situation. Great system when you need to just get an email alert about creative ways that you can improve your campaign. This tool is for that. It's for the people. And this is a wonderful system that I use, Jason uses, and it's great. So opteo.com/PSP. Try it out for a 6-week trial. That's an extended trial just for our listeners. Jason.
Thanks, Chris. And I want to thank our friends at Directive Consulting, directiveconsulting.com. Directive does great work for B2B and enterprise search engine marketing campaigns. B2B is different, enterprise is different. There's tons of different kinds of online marketing, tons of different kinds of search engine marketing, small companies, big companies. But when you're running B2B campaigns and enterprise campaigns, it's just different. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of avenues you can focus on online. And that's what Directive does. They do it all: SEO, pay-per-click, conversion rate optimization, landing pages, user experience design, content creation, social media advertising, digital PR, analytics. They do it all. And that's what you want to do when you're a B2B or enterprise advertiser. You want to look at all your options online and then see what is producing the highest quality of lead, and then how you can figure out how to scale those leads and get as many of those quality leads as possible. That's exactly what Directive Consulting does. Go to their website, look at some of the brands they've worked with, look at their case studies, look at their services, and most importantly, get a free custom proposal for your B2B or enterprise campaign. Get a free custom proposal at directiveconsulting.com.
Jason, before we
Yo,
get to the review, I have
yes.
a quick announcement. As we mentioned in our Patreon show a couple weeks ago, we were considering opening up a P.O. box for some people to send some stuff. Just whatever you like. It doesn't have to be about Google Ads. You just say thanks. You can say, hey, you guys suck. Here's a picture of my foot, like whatever you want to send. And in the show notes from here on, there will be a P.O. box. And just feel free, send something on just for fun. That's it.
Chris, thanks for that announcement. And before we get to this week's review of the week, I also just want to announce some things, Chris. We got an email just today. Hey, I want to listen to the Paid Search podcast from the beginning episode. And it always bothers me when I get those emails, because I'm like, do we not do a good
Yeah.
enough job explaining where this stuff is? So as you're listening to this, we have anything more recent than the first 100 episodes is in our podcast player feed right now. And then the first 100 episodes are available for sale, paidsearchpodcast.com/archive. And the first 100 are all there. And some of them are on YouTube, some of them aren't. And of course, the quality of the audio is a lot better than YouTube. So we recommend you guys check that out, paidsearchpodcast.com/archive, if you want to get the first 100 episodes, or any of the first 100. Search for your topic. You can get one episode at a time. Also, the forum, I'm announcing this for new listeners and also hosts of the Paid Search podcast that don't go there, forum.paidsearchpodcast.com. It's a place to ask other Google Ads advertisers your questions. Don't be shy. If you have a new question, you're new to Google Ads, feel free to ask it. If you're a old school Google Ads person, chime in there with some advice and questions for people. Have a lot of fun on there. Just news for you, Chris. I posted something this week in there. Google, parent company Alphabet, is making an offer, apparently, according to News Online, for Fitbit. And
Yes.
why
I
would we
read
talk
about
about
that.
that on this
Yeah.
show? Well, it has implications potentially for advertisers one day. It's just
Right.
more and more
Right.
information. So if someone, I guess, doesn't have an Android, maybe they don't use Chrome. Um, if Google owns Fitbit, it might give more information for like location based ads or however all that stuff works. So that's how I'm looking for it. Just more information, more targeted advertising. And I predict that sale will go through because I think it makes sense for both companies. Now, Chris, let's get to this week's review of the week. I want to thank everyone for putting those reviews online. The people who put reviews are the most dedicated listeners. They love the show. They know they help the show. And a lot of people are putting those reviews online. We appreciate it. And you can do it on Apple Podcasts or wherever you leave podcasts. This one came from Drew from the United States of America. PSP combines great PPC knowledge with entertainment. 5 stars. Chris and Jason.
Mm.
Your show is amazing. You are able to combine great PPC knowledge while keeping me entertained with your pen slams, sound effects, Jimmy, laughter, and playful banter. I learn new knowledge bombs from every episode, which continues to boost the performance of my campaigns. Proudly supporting you on Patreon so Jason can add more square footage to his tiny home. Okay, we all know that's like a Patreon joke.
Tiny home.
Tiny home. You know what's interesting about this property when we got it, when we acquired it, Chris? For as big as it is, and I don't need to get into a number, we've talked about that before, but as big as it is, did not have a pool. So if
Right.
you guys can get on Patreon, $2 a month, and we can run that up, I
Help
will,
Jason get his
because
pool.
the Patreon, just so everyone knows, it goes directly to me, and then I hand out the little cheese crackers to Chris when I feel
Right.
like it.
Cheese
And we
cracker.
can play with those
Here's some
numbers,
peanuts.
and I can keep more of those $2, and I can get myself a pool. And by the way, Chris, I just want to double up on these kind of reviews commentary. Our listener Hal sent in an email, and it was a very simple email. He said, "Please keep doing Jimmy intros for a while." And then he said,
Mm.
"Thanks for everything, Jason." And then he said, "Listener Hal." So I wrote him back. I said, "Don't worry about that." And I said in the email, I
Mm.
said, "Jimmy, would you like to be on more podcast episodes?" Yes. And that's all I said to him. So thanks,
Mm.
Hal, for writing in. So, Chris, with that said, I'm going to hand over these reins to my main man in a zip down to the navel shirt.
Mm.
And you wanted to talk about something basic, something old
Yeah.
school, but something extremely fundamental to everything we do. Let's share some knowledge today, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jason, I remember talking about this back. I was in a different home. I was in a different tax bracket, I believe. I
Yeah,
mean,
you had
just
a
it's a
different
whole nother
number.
world. Yeah.
You were a
Yeah.
9, now you're an 8.
Yeah.
8 at your age, not bad.
Right. Well, it's something that harkens back to some of our very first episodes. It's some of the most basic stuff, and I want to talk about the ad rank formula. I mean, we don't talk about math a lot. We talk about theory. We talk about ideas to get more conversions and things like that. And a lot of times we say things and we're very poignant about saying our belief in certain tactics that doesn't necessarily make sense. Use manual bidding and adjust your bids this way, put things into a themed or topic ad group. And why do we say that? Because it doesn't really make sense. Why can't you just throw it all into one ad group and just write some ads and you know just let the best keyword win? So
Right.
today we're going to get behind the reason why a lot of that is the way it is, why this is called best practice, why there's reason behind this method. And Jason, to start it off, the reason I even considered this is from our friend Donald from New York, New York, which I believe is a tiny little island over on the northeast side of America. I've never been there. Sounds terrifying. From what I've heard, the rats eat people there. But he emailed and
Personally, I love
he
New
said,
York. New York is it's the financial capital of the world, and I love our listeners in New York. I love my clients in New York, and actually, my grandma was from New York, and she used to tell me
hmm
stories about about living in New York, and the gangsters down the street blew up the store, and oh, it was a good time, Jason.
I just, as a Texan, I know you're Oklahoma, I'm Texas. I mean, everybody's seen the commercial, New York City. I just don't feel that I can just I can't as a Texan, I just feel like a little rivalry there, but all in good fun, Donald. But anyway, Donald's the reason we're doing this whole episode. He says Jason mentions about Google Ads being essentially an algebra formula. He says, could you explain how all the levers work together? In other words, what's the different parts of the equation? And then he happens to, write out x equals or z equals x plus y, right? Which reminded me we don't get into a lot
Yeah,
of basics about this. And Donald, I think, is a great suggestion. So let's talk about the actual formula. So build up, drum roll. The actual formula is z equals x times y. That's the most simplistic algebraic formula of Google Ads.
break it up top.
Ad rank equals quality score times max bid.
Mm.
Okay, ad rank. I don't know that we say the word ad rank. We say quality score all the time.
Yeah, we
We say
rarely say
max
ad
bid
rank.
all the time, but we don't say ad rank. And, and,
So
and
that
it
sounds
is
too simple.
actually
It sounds too
the
simple.
answer to all of that. Yeah.
Quality score times max bid
Ad
equals
rank,
ad rank. That sounds way too simple to even talk about. So tell people why ad rank is so important. What is that?
right.
Something a lot of
Ad
people have probably
rank,
never heard of.
yeah. Yeah. Ad rank is essentially what determines your placement on Google. Now, we don't have average position anymore, but what essentially it is first position, second position, third position, and down, all the way down to the last ad shown on the page. Ad rank is the final score, the qualification determined by these factors that determines where you show on Google. And I think the most important factor that I always like to point out to people is in this simplest format. Now, side note here, I know people may email and tweet and send hate mail to our new PO box about the fact that it's ad rank is not quite this simple, and we understand that. We're going to get into
We
that,
might get
but
into that.
for this purpose, for this purpose, we're going to keep it very straightforward and very simple in the most basic format. So when it comes down to it, bid is only half of the factor that determines your placement. And just to put this into context, Google is I don't know if they're rich, but they're a very rich, very profitable company. And what brings in all of their money, the vast majority of it, is the fact that they're running a system where bidding and your dollars only determine half of your ability to get clicks, which is amazing to me. It seems like from the beginning, the system was designed to not weight money and monetary status above your ability to write good ads, to follow best practice status. I think over to me it's overwhelming. I think it's pretty crazy that they would even do that. I think it's a great system for that reason because it rewards hard work. It rewards somebody who works diligently to get good quality scores.
Well, it rewards relevancy. And so that's kind of a very nice spin you just put on it. And it is an amazing thing they created. But for me, when I'm trying to understand things, I like getting in the other person's shoes and understanding the full 360. So I think talking about why it's beneficial to Google will help advertisers understand why relevancy matters so much. There were search engines before Google, Chris. Why are we all using Google today? And why did Google make all the money? It's because before Google, when you wanted to advertise, it was just all about who had the most money. People created search engines, People started using search engines. The people who own search engines said, wow, we have a lot of traffic. This is cool. Does anyone want to get in front of that traffic? Like a billboard on the side of the road, whoever has the most money will put anything you want on that billboard. Whoever has the most money. So people paid a lot of money to get in front of a lot of people on search engines, and people didn't click the ads. It wasn't useful. People started tuning the ads out because if you're doing a search for a moving company and you see um, an ad for some kind of pharmaceutical pill for diabetes, you're not going to click on that ad. You're not going to care to see the ad, and eventually you're going to tune the ad out because you went to the search engine to search for a mover. But if you go to the search engine searching for a mover, and the ads deliver movers along with the organic results that deliver movers, they deliver the same thing. They deliver what you're looking for. You're going to click on the ad. So Google's whole magic, what made them different than anyone else when it came to advertising, was, oh, we're going to make relevant ads that actually help people, that match people with companies that offer what they're looking for. And if we do that, people are going to actually use the ads. They're actually going to click on them. For the advertiser, they're actually going to bring in direct business, and people are going to want to advertise, and people are going to be okay clicking on the ads because it gives them what they want. So how could they force the advertisers to be relevant? Well, that's quality score. So if you're doing a search for a moving company and the first advertiser is the pharmaceutical company for diabetes, and they can bid $1,000 per click, and then the local moving company can only bid $10 per click. These are exaggerated numbers. If you can give the moving company a higher quality score, which impacts what actually depends who shows up higher, the ad rank, you can give them edge over the non-relevant advertiser and make it worthwhile
Mm.
for the small mover to advertise. So that's why relevancy helps everybody, Chris. And most importantly, that's why it helps Google, because it allows ads to show up that actually match the person's search, and it gives people who actually match their search a chance to compete with huge advertisers that may just want to come in and target that traffic. That's not really a problem anymore, but back in the day, that's what started this whole quality score thing. So why don't you, I guess, take us through the levers, Chris? You have your bid, your quality score. How do those factors like affect each other in terms of who gets to show up number one? And by the way, it's not just where you show up, it's if you get to show up at all on that first page.
Right, right, right. So, of course, you know what bids are. Bids are either determined manually at the keyword level, they're determined at the ad group level, or you turn on an automated system, which you don't mess with bids overall. You just put a max CPC in place, and Google determines what your bid should be to help maximize conversions or clicks. Okay, so you get to directly control the lever of bids. If you push really hard, you just hit that lever, turn the dial, and just go crazy, and you put $100 bid in place, um, that then is halved. You only get half of that bid to determine your placement. So let's say that you have a quality score of 1 and your competitor has a quality score of 10. Even if you put $100 bid in place, it does not mean that you are outbidding them. You don't get to just outbid them. You have to, in fact, simply, or I should say,
Get a
you have
higher
to,
ad
in
rank.
fact, get a higher ad rank to beat them. So your bid is only half of the equation. So you get to control it. The other half of the equation, I would not even use lever to determine this, because it's more like a complicated gauge. You're looking at a dashboard of information, because we talk about quality score. The other half of the system is quality score. And this is not a number that you can directly impact. Everything
It
that you
is if you
do,
use Skags. It
it
is if you use Skags.
I thank you. Thank you. I'm going to call it, that's Jimmy talking, wasn't it? That was Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy. Uh, I,
It's something you can't control.
I'm
Well,
gonna,
like,
that's how I feel about Jimmy and his skags. Because what Jason said is exactly what I hear many people say, and I've had clients tell me and say, "Well, Chris, I'm seeing some big things. I read online if we put everything into skags,
mm,
um, we'll see a huge quality score improvement."
You
And
will.
I won't say that I don't have any more.
Well, Chris, you're making claims, okay? You're making claims, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get you to rebut certain points. So some
Right.
scaggers out there is going to say, okay, we'll break down what makes up quality score. And you're saying it's not something we can super control. So expected click through rate, we'll talk
Mhm.
about that in a minute. Landing page experience, well, that doesn't sound like it has anything to do, well, maybe with scags. We'll talk about that in a second. But ad relevance. And what they're saying is if you only have one keyword per ad group with those ads, that's as relevant as you can make it. Why doesn't that improve your quality score? You have the floor to answer them.
Okay. Okay. So the idea is that for Google to have the best system, to get the best user experience, they want people to search for something, see relevant ads, and the person click on that ad. Okay, that's the
And be
experience
taken
they
to a
want.
relevant
By setting
page.
up thank you, and be taken to the right kind of page, something
Right.
that's a direct linear process. You click
Hmm.
on an ad that says X, you want to land on something that says X and not Z, right? You don't want to get something completely different, or see ads that are not related to X. So the idea is, if you were to do a SCAG system, that's somehow the peak of relevancy. But in fact, there is very little that is improved for the user experience in that. It's merely a structure change, which Google, I don't think, rewards structure changes. And I say that based on 15 years, over 15 years of experience in Google Ads, because I see systems of clients that have a ad group, that have an ad group with one or two ad groups, and they have a plethora of keywords and ad copy in there, and they're doing phenomenally well. They have incredibly good quality scores. And then I see other people that use categorized topical ad groups and do very well. And then I see SCAGs that do very well. There is no inherent system structure that works better than another. It's
So,
not that
so
I'm against SCAGs.
yeah.
I am against people saying that SCAGs are the only appropriate way to approach quality score.
So
That is
would it be
absolutely not true.
fair to say that if you have a keyword Oklahoma City movers and the ad for that keyword says Oklahoma City movers or the ad says Oklahoma City moving companies, both of those are going to get the same ad relevance. Someone searches for Oklahoma City movers and the ad says your Oklahoma City moving company, your Oklahoma City movers, whichever one of those says, it's it's not. So that's my vote. That's what I think. I don't think
Yeah,
I think as long as it makes sense to the user, they search for a mover. We all know that
right.
movers are the same thing as a moving company. That's relevance. So that's my approach to it, Chris. And I agree with you. I don't think you need SCAGs at all to, and we're not doing that episode, but there's downsides to SCAGs in terms of management. So I guess, Chris, when it comes to ad relevance, when it comes to expected click through rate, when it comes to landing page experience, what is your overall take on quality score and how that plays a role in your ad rank? Do you think you can change? Like, I'm just when a client says, "Hey, we need to get our ad rank better," if someone said that to you, or if you said that to yourself, how much are you looking at bid? How much are you looking at quality score? How do those factors play together?
Right. So I think of it in the fact of, if they want to improve their positioning, if they want to get better search impression share, if they want to get show up on certain searches that they're not showing up on, quality score is actually one of the last things I think of,
Mm,
because I equate it to a cruise ship or a diesel truck, a big huge
wow.
18 wheeler moving along. In my fast red Corvette, I can take turns and change things very quickly. That is my immediate change that I can take with max
The
bid.
bids. Okay.
When it comes to quality score, this is a progress over time. And this is not the kind of thing that I can change immediately. Someone says, I want to change quality score. I said, oh, okay, check. Let's check back on that in a couple months. Let's try and improve overall consistency. As you said before, the keyword is relevancy, right? Relevance from search term to ad copy to landing page, and well, I should say search term to keyword to ad copy to landing page, right? That relevancy process is what you continually improve. That can be changed and improved over time with quality score. But when it comes to moving things quickly, I mean, it comes down to bid. That's the only thing you can immediately pull a lever on and make changes quickly.
So, and I think it also it has to do with how bad your account is basically at a given
Mm,
time. Because if you have an account and you're like, hey, I don't think I'm showing up enough. I'm not showing up high. I keep raising my bids, but I'm raising them higher than I want to raise them, and I'm still not showing up above other people. Well, then I think you got to look at your account and you got to look at the way it's structured. You got to look at the keywords you're targeting. You got to look at your ad copy, and you got to focus on. I think the worse your account is, Chris, in terms of the way it's being run, the more you should focus on quality score because there's more improvement you can make with your quality score. So if you're just targeting tons of broad keywords, if your ad copy is just garbage, if your landing pages are horrible, there's ways you can affect all three of those factors: good ads, improve your click through rate, good landing pages, target better keywords. You can raise your quality score a lot more than someone who has a pretty good Google Ads account and is getting a ton of
good
sixes and
point.
sevens. So if you're getting like one, twos,
Yeah,
and threes and fours, there's a lot of way to go in terms of improving your relevance. And then you don't have to increase your bids as much, and your ad rank will go up because your quality score goes up. Alternatively, if you have like a pretty solid Google Ads account and you're seeing a lot of sixes and sevens on quality score, in my experience, at that point, you got to kind of pull the trigger with bids if you want to raise your
yeah,
positions and use that to impact ad rank. One thing that I think is just super important, Chris, that we haven't really hit is that because it's your not just your bid, but your bid times your quality score, and they're both kind of like even factors in terms of like raising your ad rank or in terms of levers, your options. What this means is that it means that the person that shows up number one doesn't have to necessarily be bidding more than the person showing up number two. You can get
mm,
into
good point.
positions where, or situations where the person showing up at the top, because they have a better quality score, is able to bid less. And just to give you an example of that, Chris, say someone's bidding $2 and they have a quality score of 10. What's 2 times 10? Public school, Chris?
I, I, I don't know. Hey,
I didn't
hey
think you
Siri,
did. 20. 2 times 10 is 20. And it's
that's
a
it.
good thing we
Got
have calculators. 2 times 10 is
it.
20. That's the ad rank of the first advertiser. Advertiser number two is bidding $4 and their quality score is 2. What's 2 times 4? That's 8. 8 is a
Gotcha.
lot
Yep,
less than
that's what I was
20.
about to say.
It's a lot. We knew it. We knew it. 8 is a lot less than 20. So advertiser two, who's bidding double what the other person's bidding, $4 versus $2, they're bidding double, but they're still showing up number two because their ad rank is a lot worse. And so that's why it really is a crime against humanity, I think, Chris, that we
Wow.
are 175 episodes into the show. And I know for certain we've talked about ad rank before, but it is kind
Hmm.
of a not good thing that we go this far without exclusively focusing on it. And I think the kind of letdown is not all of our listeners know about this formula. Not all of them have it kind of ingrained in them. But you and I, we never verbalize it. It's kind of like the love between us. We don't say I love you that often to each other. Sometimes I
Right.
say it when I get emotional, and then you kind of don't say it
You
back. And
mumble it
then
back.
you blame it on like the internet quality and, oh, you said it, but it dropped off
Connection.
for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but
My
I know,
mic
but
cut
the
out.
thing is, I know you feel that way. So we don't have to verbalize it. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing with ad rank. It's so ingrained on your and I's brains when we're managing accounts that I'm going to put this out there, Chris. I'm going to take it one step further. It's not only that I don't think about ad rank when I'm managing because I always think about it, if that makes sense. It's that it's at a
Sure.
subconscious level at this point. I don't have to think,
Yeah.
I wonder if I should raise my bid here, or am I just raising it enough and it's just the other guy's quality score is just not going to be something I'm going to be able to catch up with because my client's
Yeah.
website is dog poop and their client's website is the best user experience I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm just not going to go down
Yeah.
that road of raising my bids. all that happens subconsciously. Does it happen subconsciously for you, Chris?
Oh, sure. And I'll tell you what is even makes it even more of a subconscious, not a direct uh, thought, is that when I start thinking about a competitor's quality score, my mind goes into the black box of quality score, right? It makes it even more of an obscure idea in comparison to max bid, because quality score, you can't equate it in the same way that you can equate max bid. It's such an obscure idea that it's very difficult to say, look, that guy obviously has a better quality score. You don't know that. You might actually have a better quality score. He
Okay.
might just be bidding a
Okay.
lot.
Stop the presses.
Uh-oh.
I think this calls here's the problem, Chris. Bids. So what makes up ad rank? Quality score times bid.
Quality score
Bids.
times
What
bid.
do we talk about a lot? We talk a lot about bids.
Bid.
Okay. We're very good
Yeah.
on bids. Okay. So we don't need to kind of cover bids in the sense of an ad rank discussion because we're on top of it with bids. We've covered them very well. But I think we need to talk about quality score next week. And I think we obviously we've talked about quality score and the factors that make it up. But I think we need to specifically talk about quality score and its relation to ad rank situations. And I think that needs to be the next week's episode in terms of
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm bidding. We just need to come up with scenarios. I'm bidding a ton. It's not moving the needle. Like I'm in the preview tool. I'm raising the bid $20, still position two. My client wants position
Yep.
one. Okay, I go back in to Google Ads. I raise it another $20. I wait 5 minutes. I go to the preview tool. We're still number two. What is going on? Why is I can't get ahead of this guy? Are they really bidding 7 times what I thought other people were bidding? No, it's a quality score situation. So how can I improve my quality score? So I think we need to talk about quality score in the ad rank realm next week. Do you agree
Mm.
with that, Chris? Would you like to? Are you going to be there when I come on here next week to talk about that? Do you agree?
Um, I am contractually obligated to be here. So yes,
Good.
and it is your week to choose the topic. So I am contractually obligated to say absolutely.
Thank you.
How's that for enthusiasm?
I know you haven't, Chris. Cut the dude. You see this? You see this?
What is
You know where
that's
that's
hilarious?
been? You want to know
What
where
is
that's
that?
been? I'm done throwing pens. I'm throwing things like that now. Okay.
No, I hate that. No, it doesn't even make a sound when it hits the wall. Who has a floppy pin? You need something heavy and weighty. You don't have it. Oh, the dog's barking. You make the dog bark from throwing your floppy
Chris, I don't
pin
honestly that
against the
you're
wall.
making me very heated right now on Halloween. I don't need that in my life
I
today
know.
of all days.
I love it. Okay, so
Stop. No, no, no.
Jason,
No,
let's
Chris, cut the crap. Cut the contractually obligated fake joke no one thinks is funny, okay? Do
oh,
you
okay. All right.
cut
Bring
the
it. Here we
jock?
go.
Oh,
Let's
oh,
get
we're not doing CrossFit. Oh, one more, Chris. Oh, we're not doing that, Chris. We're doing a podcast, so stop saying that. Honestly, do you think there's some value to talking about quality score in terms of ad rank scenarios? I think it's very important.
um I am very interested to know what those scenarios are.
It's in terms of like understanding your ad rank options, or excuse me, your quality score options and the factors of quality score, but understanding them with the ad rank as the end goal in mind. Like, how can you
Right.
possibly talk about ad rank and understand it to the level we understand it unless you understand the factors of quality score to the same extent?
Mhm.
So I think it needs to be talked about. So we'll talk about that. Chris,
Okay.
we have some more stuff to talk about with ad rank. What we're going to do, I think, if you agree, we're going to link to this article you found that has a great graphic that shows the chart, quality score times ad rank or quality score times bid is your ad rank. We'll link to that.
Mhm.
We'll link to the Google documentation about ad rank, but this isn't 2016, Chris. This is 2019. And I
Right.
don't know about you, but I'm seeing things change in that support documents from Google all the time. And when I got on there
Mhm.
today to learn to kind of re up myself about ad rank and get with the documentation, I was very surprised by what I found. And so as we go deeper into a conversation that's more theoretical and things we can't really control, but they're good to know about, I want to talk about that stuff with you on Patreon because it's just more theoretical. And like you said, today was about the formula. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Except, speaking of Patreon, I have already chosen my topic for Patreon. So you have been rejected. Do not delete it. Just because you delete it off of the spreadsheet does not mean it's no longer chosen. I see your cursor going. Okay, so before we jump into Patreon, which we do every week, and you can join us for $2 or $4 a month, a very a great rate. Okay, so this episode is brought to you by our very gracious sponsors, optio.com/PSP. You heard me at the top of the episode. You know what I like about it. You know what you like about it because 99% of you have tried it and are using it. I'm talking to you, Charles, who are not currently trying it. Yeah, you, Sarah. Yeah, Sarah. I'm talking to you who has not tried it. The 1% out there, go out there, try it. Opteo.com/PSP, opteo.com/PSP.
Thanks, Chris. And I want to thank Directive Consulting, directiveconsulting.com. B2B, enterprise, online marketing campaigns. Directive does it all. They'll help you get quality leads. They'll help you scale that and get more and more quality leads. They do everything: SEO, pay per click, landing pages, content, social. They do everything. And they do it for B2B and they do it for enterprise advertisers. Go to their website, look at some of the brands they've worked with. It's extremely impressive. Look at their case studies and get a free custom proposal at directiveconsulting.com. Chris, just to put a button on this episode, the ad rank formula, it can get way more complex. There's other things to talk about. We'll do that a little on Patreon. At the end of the day, though, the things you can control and kind of see, or most of the things, what it was all based on the whole time, your max bid times your quality score, that determines your ad rank. Your ad rank determines if you get to show up at all and where you get to show up. It sounds simple, but it's the most fundamental thing to Google Ads. And for all the advertisers out there that want to have some fun with me from the Paid Search Podcast, next time an agency is selling to you, next time a freelancer is selling to you, let them do their
Oh,
little
nice.
spiel, but then at the end, hit them with a nice. So, how does ad rank play a role in terms of your decisions inside the Google Ads campaign?
Oh, goodness.
And what percent of people do you think, Chris, are not even going to either have never heard of ad rank and they're doing Google Ads, or they're not going to be, they don't know it at a subconscious level like we do, and they're
They're
not going to be able to talk about the factors and they're going to fall back on their feet. Wait till the end of the conversation. Let them do what they're comfortable doing, their little stupid sales pitch, and then hit them with well, I'm very focused, because the thing that I'm very focused on ad rank, and I want to know how that's going to play a role in how you manage the campaigns. The reason this is going to stumble the idiots on their heels is because they never get asked about ad rank from
Yep.
advertisers, and they're not going to know what to say, and it's going to be really funny. And Chris,
That's
you know that's
awesome.
true because you're laughing a genuine
That's
laugh there. Isn't
evil.
that funny?
Oh man. Yeah. Oh
Is it
man. I
evil
want to.
or is it good
Yeah.
versus evil? Because I'm helping the advertisers out there, Google Ads.
You
How
are.
dare you say something's evil when I'm doing good versus evil? People ask for it. You got it. Here's this pen. There's the